when you go beyond reporting and your chairman admits there was endorsement, then that opens you up to liability under the actual malice standard. And Wolf, it's not just $1.6 million. If the jury decides that this conduct was egregious enough, and much that is in here continues to be shocking, that's bristling almost 200 pages, every page has a Perry Mason moment. If the jury decides that it was bad enough conduct, they can double or triple that $1.6 billion or go even higher. So I think there's very serious legal exposure. This is one of the most devastating depositions that I've ever seen.
One of the most devastating depositions that CNN's legal analyst Norm Eisen has ever seen. He even pointed out how that 1.6 billion could be more if they've determined just how devastating this is. It's all this news floating around after Rupert Murdoch, as they're now gonna have figured out, testified and tried to defend his network. But as you look at some of those details of what he did in defending his network, you'll also notice the people he did not defend within his network. Let's watch that.
Rupert Murdoch, he acknowledges that some of his top hosts over at Fox News were peddling false election claims. In it, Rupert Murdoch is asked by Dominion, you were aware now that Fox did more than simply host these guests and give them a platform, correct? And Murdoch goes on and it says, in fact, you are now aware that Fox endorsed at times this false notion of a stolen election. Murdoch says, not Fox, but maybe Lou Dobbs, maybe Maria Bartiromo as commentators. And then it goes on and they mentioned Jeanine Pirro, a Fox News host. He says, I think she did as well. Lou Dobbs, a lot. Fox host Sean Hannity, a bit. And then it goes on to say as well about Fox endorsing the narrative of a stolen election, correct? Rupert Murdoch answers, no, some of our commentators were endorsing it. And the Dominion says about their endorsements of a stolen election. Rupert Murdoch says, yes, they endorsed.
So all that Oliver Darcy there was pointing out through these back and forths with Rupert Murdoch that he had, it sounds like he's totally throwing the network under the bus, which I think has been the headlines going on. But really what it is those certain Fox head or hosts that he did toss under the bus in order to help the network. Let's look closer. First of all, though, is the reasons why he was doing this in this manner was to protect them from this lawsuit. So to prevail, Dominion has to show not only that Fox broadcast false information, but that it did so knowingly. That's the big part about these defamation cases, which are why they're so hard to prove and why all these things have to be put forward. Let's look at a screenshot of what Darcy was pointing out there in the middle. Because that question in the middle where he said, are you aware that Fox endorsed at times this false notion of a stolen election? If he answers yes to that, that means he's saying his network knowingly did it, therefore they're culpable. He's saying it right out there. But he said, no, not Fox, not Fox, no, not Fox, not Fox. And look at the names he tosses out there, Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, even Jeanine Pirro. So it's them, not the network. Next slide though, you guys. Again, they ask him in the middle, yes, about Fox endorsing the narrative of a stolen election, correct? And he goes back to no. Some of our commentators were endorsing it. So he's trying to push this whole thing that commentators, not us, commentators, not us. So in the room full of these bank robbers that have just gotten away, they thought, with all these bags of money, eventually start snitching on each other. And what Murdoch is trying to protect is that network, not those hosts who were used by Murdoch. And of course they believed it too, and they don't get me wrong. They benefited greatly monetarily from these lies that they told, as you could see from those emails and text messages that Hannity and Tucker and Ingram and all of them were tossing around. So of course, Donald Trump stuck his nose in this whole thing because he doesn't like how this sounds. Let's look what he said over on Truth Social. Why is Rupert Murdoch throwing his anchors under the table? I thought it was the bus when you're under the anyways, which also happens to be killing his case and infuriating his viewers, who will again be leaving in droves. They already are. There is massive evidence of voter fraud and irregularities. In the 2020, he says the same stuff. He says, watch 2,000 mules. You'll see large scale, the same stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Also that it's rigged. Any opportunity he has to try and throw these nonsensical comments into the discourse, he will do, because he did it again a couple hours later. He says there's so much voter fraud and irregularities in the 2020 election that it amazes me how weak and ineffective Fox News is at portraying itself in the lawsuit against them. They look too scared and frightened to reveal the massive amounts in the same stuff again about the voter fraud and the voter fraud and the voter fraud again. And now we have a third world country. So he's back to just going on his own narrative about himself. But he doesn't like how Fox, potentially, because I don't think he understood what was going on here, is calling out the lies he was telling and how they didn't believe him in the first place was. There's a lot more to this, but first, this part.
It's just, this lawsuit has the potential to be quite groundbreaking because it sort of tracks with the trajectory of the Republican Party, right? And Fox News as its public mouthpiece. Like, it's okay to go and say maybe Obama didn't do as well at his grades in his Ivy League school, or that was he really born in America, and there will be death panels for Obamacare and all of that. It's okay to speculate on that kind of stuff. It's a different matter, all around, to accuse a company, a corporation essentially, of committing felonies and fraud when this is how they make their nut. This is how they make their money, right? Is executing the counting of these votes accurately and effectively. And when you go on your network to millions of people and you question the efficacy of their business, and not only that, you accuse them of knowingly committing a fraud, this is a whole different matter, right? Like, this is different from rumors and conjecture. This is different from calling welfare people greedy and stupid and annoying. You're talking about a specific entity and saying that they committed a crime, and knowing that they didn't, right? In order for views and to curry support from Donald Trump. And yeah, this has the potential to have massive repercussions. And I think it's part of why they're moving away from Trump. It's like, in order to follow you, in order to support you, we have to go down the most insane rabbit holes, lies, twist ourselves into, logical knots in order to do so. And so, yeah, this is crazy. And I think that last part about Trump is kind of funny, where he's like, there's all this proof that they were telling the truth, and yet they're being sued for billions and billions and won't present it. It's like, so you're saying they just want to give away billions of dollars? Donald, like, what are you doing?
It's not helping is what he's doing. Like in everything else, like what happened in Georgia at those elections, which we heard Murdoch, we've seen Murdoch also say, we've just got to focus and help in Georgia. Help one particular political party in Georgia is what he said. So by the way, so the table is set here. Rupert Murdoch wants to protect the network and not some of these hosts. He definitely still looking to kind of protect Hannity and Carlson and those guys because they make big money for him. But there's this other instance here because they're trying to separate the Fox organization from these hosts. And the reason being, of course, because of the defamation stuff. A little bit more from the inside about how this may work. Lachlan Murdoch, who's the son of Rupert, and is also part now owner, now CEO, I believe, at Fox News, ordered a network anchor to be reprimanded for challenging Donald Trump's bogus voting fraud claims, is also what these court documents then showed. Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch said journalist Leland Vittert's, quote, anti-Trump views were smug and obnoxious. Again, that's according to the legal filing that's made as part of this $1.6 billion lawsuit from Dominion. So if it's just the hosts, why did these top people then talk about how Leland Vittert wasn't doing the right thing? It sounds like it's an organizational thing. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at Leland Vittert being smug and obnoxious, according to the bigwigs at Fox News.
What do you want to have happen with those 700,000 votes? The ballots are already mixed in. Do you just want 700,000 votes deducted from Biden's total?
We want to make sure that conversation happens. You're trying to say this is done and over. The media
I'm not. I'm not saying it's done and over. I'm asking you where you're going to find the votes to pull ahead. Where are the votes to pull ahead?
Forward. This is now my third time to try to get this answer out. The legal path ahead exists here because there are clear constitutional violations that keep snarking, making your faces and rolling your eyes, Leland.
Take me through.
I get it. You guys spent years trying to run up a Russia hoax against the president.
It's very simple.
And trying to say this is over.
How does the president?
And hypocrisy continues because you know what?
How does the president
don't concede to Joe Biden.
What do you want to have happen to the 700,000 votes?
That this is over for us. It's ridiculous.
What do you want to have?
What happens to the 7?
what do you want to have happen to the votes?
Decide, Leland.
Okay.
That is up for the court to decide. But we should be able to have the conversation about those votes when you're trying to say this is done and over.
No, nobody's trying to say that. I'm just simply asking you.
You guys keep calling him president-elect. It sounds like you guys are certainly saying it's over.
I don't know who you guys are.
Damn. So he was being smug and obnoxious apparently there. So from the top, they say that. And as you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but Leland Vittert no longer works at Fox News. He left in 2021. He's over at News Nation, I believe, now. I think that's a big part about this too. So last thoughts?
Yeah, if you're telling your anchors to go out and peddle something that you know has no way to be proven, and you're not presenting this quote unquote information as such, it's like it's uncorroborated. There's absolutely no proof. We have no way of confirming this, but the leader of the free world, or the guy who had that job for 4 years, it's claiming that this happened. So it's, we have to talk about it. But as far as the accusations itself, we don't know how valid they are, if there's any validity. And that's how we're gonna present them. Instead, they wanted to bring people on that would represent Donald Trump's ravings as absolute fact. And anybody who pushed back against that, like our friend Leland there, got stomped on.
Leland Vittert. It's a fabulous name.